Hello and welcome back again to Rage Gaming and a Vessel of Hatred special video this time around. That's because I recently went to Gamescom, I've just come back, and there I was invited to play an early version of Vessel of Hatred in the new region. I was able to record the session in which I played the upcoming class, the spiritborn, under 4 different builds. Each would lean into the kind of different animal spirits and their core concepts, all at level 30, and it felt very good between them. So thank you to Blizzard for that opportunity. I'll be showing that off in this video between the topics, but more specifically for this video, I want to talk about the major reveals for the DLC as a whole. What are the big things coming to think about, and will it be enough for Diablo 4's future? Is it what the game needs? Starting with one of the biggest topics I would say they revealed, which is the new mercenary system. These guys are going to be unlocked via the main quest story and are going to be new partners that help you out in combat. Each merc has their own backstory and unique combat style, like a mini class of their own. We have 4 to consider. There's the shield bearer, the cursed child, the berserker, and the bounty hunter. So we follow their own quest lines, unlocking them as an option and swap between them based on what we're doing. Their abilities are chosen for different utility, right? We don't know the ins and outs of them, but one of them is going to be using a shield to block incoming attacks. One of them builds a massacre meter, so as you chain kill enemies they get stronger. One of them, the shapeshifter, turns into a potent demon. And lastly there's the archer, which avoids melee to drop volleys onto packs and will mark enemies, which when killed will help you CDR. So obviously there's going to be a lot of details around them and a lot of reasons to bring them depending on your build and playstyle, but the full details are still pretty sparse. What we do know is you can pick one to be your main companion at a time, so you can't have all 4 with you. If you're in a party, you can't bring them with you. However, you can pick another for reinforcement purposes. The selected merc for that purpose will appear during fights to use a special skill. So each mercenary has their own abilities, and we kind of choose and control when they're going to spring in for help. If solo, you can have your main merc with you, and then kind of a half mercenary that's coming in as a reinforcement at times. The example given for that was setting your opportunity, such as setting it to activate when you're hit by a CC of some kind. But we did hear other examples of setup, like say they spring into action when you use your ultimate, or they trigger when you're low health. That's going to be up to you, but it'll be interesting to see what the actual settings for that will be. So again, you have your main merc by your side, and then a selected reinforcement appears based on the rules you're setting. But in team play, when you're playing with other players in a party, you'll each be able to choose that reinforcement to bring, 4 total in the party. You would consider what synergizes well, or what would help the group most, but the direct mercenary companion, that's only there when you're solo. So one big question we have right now about the system is if the mercenaries will scale. How will they scale in fact? Will they be like Necromancer minions and scale from your stats? Well, when directly asked by Rob2628 in an interview during Gamescom, they basically confirmed it won't work like that. They tried it, and apparently the mercenaries were too strong, so they've limited the mercenary powers in some way. So like I just mentioned, the main mercenary you're running will have their own small skill tree to consider. We've seen a choice between 6 skills and 12 passives under the skills tab, and then there's the rapport tab as well. Rapport is essentially the trust between you. You build it through combat and other events, and spend it to upgrade the mercenary. With that, you get more skill points to work in their skill tree, unlocking more abilities and passives as you go, but also increase the ability to barter with them. And they each have 10 levels of rapport that you can earn. Though at the end level, it seems to become infinite, you can repeatedly re-level it for more pale marks, which is a new currency used in that bartering. So there's going to be a new base called the Den where you meet with the mercenaries, and there you can trade with them using the pale marks currency. The higher level the mercenaries, the more options you have to spend pale marks on. Also, you might be wondering what will happen if the mercenary dies. Well, apparently they don't die, they just kind of go down when you're fighting. They'll need a pickup like you'd res a dead player, but they have mentioned there's some protection to stop a mercenary dying constantly like at a boss fight, so we'll see how that works. Overall, it seems like an interesting system to enhance and help out solo players, but the synergies you build in a team based on the reinforcement skill choices you have and when they activate, that could be quite relevant to general gameplay. We've heard of 2 new main endgame activities, though one of them will come into play much earlier than the other. Firstly, the true endgame activity coming is the Dark Citadel. Referred to as the ultimate co-op challenge, it's meant to be a new activity style for the game. The Citadel features 3 main wings with challenges you solve, sounding like puzzles to me, alongside classic combat and bosses and a final boss too. It is defined as a co-op activity though, so solo players won't be able to engage with it. Hence the key feature they're adding with the DLC, the Party Finder tool, which will need to work well for that. To be clear though, it will require 2 players at a minimum to function, and they told us that a party of 4 will probably have the best time overall. So a working Party Finder, yeah, gonna be key. They claim that there's gonna be more complex bosses found within, and each wing's progression is something you can kind of pause. You can leave and go out and vendor, repair, rethink and all that, and then come back and keep going. At certain sections, communication's going to be key too. With that in mind, they're adding a new marker system to help when you're playing with friends that are not like on voice or something with you. In terms of difficulty, they describe the first level of the Citadel to be comparable to, say, a level 15 or 20 pit. So it's definitely later in the progression when you're in Endgame. And it also sounds like there's going to be higher tiers to the Citadel to push the content beyond, meaning, better rewards, but also more difficulty. Each week, we're going to earn special rewards through this. The way they defined the rewards in the news post was weird though. Could grant you resplendent and exclusive items only found in the Dark Citadel. So take the infernal hordes mechanic. You'd find the new uniques added in season 5 there. So I imagine there's going to be stuff like that, specifically in the Dark Citadel. But their use of the word resplendent is so interesting. The only other use we've seen of that was resplendent sparks, the currency we use to craft mythic uniques. That kind of vague terminology is referenced only with another vital mechanic, so you would imagine it's intentional. Maybe this endgame activity would be tied to getting sparks as a new way to build up that currency to craft mythics more consistently. Or did they use resplendent in a really kind of poor way in the news post? I don't know. Either way, they tell us that we're going to earn Citadel coins here too, which is tied to unlocking cosmetics as a kind of bonus thing, irrelevant of power progression, which is just nice to have. They refer to lots of new unique armor sets or specific pieces, new cap mount stuff, purely cosmetic stuff, just for fun. So I like that addition. Unlocking the Citadel is something we'll do when we're reaching endgame though, and when we complete the quest tied to that, it'll never have to be done again. In all following seasons, it'll be good to go from the start, which is good to hear. Now, it does sound cool. We don't know the true depth of the puzzles and stuff like that requiring markers. That sounds interesting. I just hope it works out. But the fact that it needs to be 2 players at a minimum to work is a big step. So, the Party Finder tool, that's going to be vital. What do we know about it? Well, apparently we open it via a menu if you're in the map, or an in-game menu generally, or you can access it via the emote wheel. In this system though, we can choose the type of party we want to look for. We choose the activity we're going to do, where you can choose a bunch of tags for your preferences, like your farming, quick clear, casual. In the interview, they talked about internal testing to make sure that there was lots of tags and options depending on the true nature of what you're wanting to do. So you could choose to say, yeah, I'm looking to be carried, or actually I want to carry people. Or maybe you're looking for people that are equal power level to you, so you get a proper group. It sounds like we're going to use this system for a lot of content though, well beyond just the Citadel. Maybe to form tormented boss farming, or whatever you want to do. So hopefully it's going to be a nice quality of life update that maybe we'll find so good that we don't know how we live without it, but we'll see. The other major new activity and content that we're getting is called the Undercity. It's a new multi-stage time dungeon, referred to as a time attack dungeon, designed for fast leveling while also helping you get ideal or powerful items during that journey. Confirmed in an interview, it's going to be unlocked early, around level 15 to 20, so I imagine it's going to be our main way to level at the launch of the DLC. The idea here though is to maximize your time, facing hordes of enemies while time is running out. You can increase the rewards by collecting attunement through more kills and events and so on, and we can extend our time in the Undercity by killing potent elites and afflicted demons. The idea is to manage your time well, increase your time limit by killing specific enemies, and in doing so, actually reach the final boss. Within the Undercity then, we're also going to earn keys called tributes. We can use these to augment the next Undercity run to increase the difficulty, but also target rewards. I guess this is the mechanic that's going to help us when leveling to get the gear you need. Hopefully the DLC changes druids in general, how they require uniques to make their whole druid concept work. But if they haven't changed that, at least this sounds ideal for the concept of targeting the uniques and the things you need as soon as possible. But yeah, in general, kill stuff, complete events, build up attunement, and get better rewards the higher you push that attunement. You get the rewards after defeating the final boss, but seemingly you won't make it to that final boss if you waste time and you don't efficiently kill special enemies. Naturally, the tributes also augment the difficulty though, not just the rewards. So as you get better rewards, it gets harder, all logical stuff. Now, endgame content and new content of that is good to hear about, but the massive thing we're wondering about is the progression updates. Something they keep teasing, say in the news post or the different interviews, is an overhaul to the progression. What we've heard is very vague. Their words are this: Season 4 Loot Reborn changed itemization, and the Vessel of Hatred DLC is going to offer a permanent, fundamental shift in the way you level and progress. They claim they're trying to make our DLC launch a much better leveling experience, more rewarding in general, but better at providing the specific power that we're hunting long term. In the Gamescom interview, we heard that it's the same grand scale overhaul as Season 4 Loot Reborn and the itemization changes there, which, yeah, was a massive event for the game and did breathe life back into it. The problem is we only hear vague stuff. Apparently big changes are coming to the Paragon to make it more in depth and bigger choices to that system, but at the same time, they said they're being very cautious with it because they don't want to make it overwhelming. They keep saying though we're going to hear more about all this stuff on August 29th during the campfire chat, so we're on the lookout for that to hear what's really going on. We did also hear during different interviews a couple of quality of life stuff coming, like there's going to be a couple extra character slots in the main menu, which is nice. Amazingly guys, we're going to get one more tab to the stash. Incredible. We've been saying forever that we need like 100 plus at a minimum, if not make it infinite. So, you know, giving us one more here and there every few seasons, in my opinion, is not remotely enough and never will be. On the bright side, they reference how the main inventory is being changed and increased in different ways. There seemingly is more tabs to work with. That's a relief. But also in that campfire chat on August 29th, we'll hear more about quality of life features, so waiting on that too. But that brings us to the end of the stuff we've heard about. Do we think these updates are going to matter for the life of Diablo 4 long term? While yes, I think new content is always great, it's the major overhauls to the way we play the game that I think is the most important thing to refresh the life of the game. Obviously, a lot of quality of life stuff is still missing from the game on that note, like a basic loot filter in an ARPG, let alone the tiny inventory and stash space we are always contending with. Yet they're slightly increasing stuff again, but yeah, they do it in 2 small steps. I will say the new class spiritborn felt great, and the 4 spirits provided a lot of variety just in the way you approach combat. I really enjoyed it. New mechanics introduced with like a payback system, hyper mobile gameplay, or comboing stuff together, building up lots of stacks and spending it. Not only did it look good, but all 4 playstyles felt very thought out. So I think it's going to be a very popular, successful class, and that's no surprise. Overall, I think they are approaching stuff in a good way though. If we keep getting major improvements to core systems and overhauls like the Loot Reborn, like this upcoming progression update, I think that will keep injecting the game's life with that feeling of freshness that we need. Much more than we need one new endgame activity every season. We need new metas. We need to be discovering new stuff, discussing new stuff, having breakthroughs in power or playstyles. To achieve that, they need to keep pushing this new stuff like Loot Reborn and Progression Overhaul, and hopefully every second season they can kind of keep doing that. So I do think it's looking good for Diablo 4 with that in mind. I just hope that they can get class balance per season better, because it was kind of all over the place in Season 5. Having said all of this, I want to say another thank you to Blizzard for inviting us to play that DLC in that session at Gamescom. It was really cool to try that. Let me know what you guys think of it all though. Will the DLC be a hit? For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.